Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Harper, and I'm a safety consultant with Kentucky Safe. And in this webinar, we will be discussing OSHA's update to the Walkaround Rule. Please pause the presentation and read this disclaimer. When you are ready, press play to continue. According to 29 CFR 1903.8, employees and employers have the right to have a representative accompany OSHA Compliance Officers, or as they are also known as COSHOs, during the physical inspections of work sites for the purpose of aiding such inspections. A 2017 court decision found that OSHA's practice of permitting third parties to be employee walk-around representatives was a valid interpretation of the act, but was not consistent with the regulation as then written. As such, OSHA revised this regulation to reinstate its long-standing practice to permit third parties to be employee walk-around representatives. To briefly go over the timeline for the rulemaking, OSHA issued the notice for proposed rulemaking on August 30th, 2023. After a comment period, OSHA then issued the final rule on April 1st of 2024. And then the rule became effective in Kentucky on September 30th, 2024. So what are the changes? Revisions to 29 CFR 1903.8C clarifies employer and employee representation during an OSHA inspection to include representatives may be an employee or non-employee third party, and that the third party representatives are not limited to formal credentials, but based on their knowledge, skills, or experience. On this slide, you will see the old regulation and the new regulation, which before we get into this, let's briefly talk about the court case that led to this change. The court case in 2017 was between the National Federation of Independent Business versus Dorothy Daughtry, who was the Assistant Secretary of Labor for OSHA at the time. And it pertained to a letter of interpretation that permitted employees to designate third parties as their representatives in OSHA inspections. The court in this case concluded that the letter of interpretation was not consistent with the regulation because the first sentence of 1903.8C explicitly stated that employee representatives shall be employees of the employer. However, the court also recognized OSHA's interpretation that third parties could be employee representatives was persuasive and valid reading of Section 8E of the OSHA Act that states, subject to regulations issued by the Secretary, a representative of the employer and a representative authorized by his employees shall be given an opportunity to accompany the Secretary or his authorized representative, being OSHA, during the physical inspection of any workplace for the purpose of aiding such inspection. The court concluded in the case that the Act merely provides employees' representative must be authorized by the employees, not that the representative must also be an employee of the employer. Based on this, OSHA decided to revise 29 CFR 1903.8C. So now getting back to the changes in the regulations, which there weren't very many. So starting off with the old 29 CFR 1903.8C, the first change was removing shall be, in the old regulation and replacing it with maybe. And then they also removed anything that would influence that the individual had to possess some type of credential, and added in that they just needed to have relevant knowledge, skills, or experience of the hazards or conditions in the workplace or similar workplaces. So again, just a few minor changes to the new regulation. As a state that runs its own OSHA program, Kentucky is required to adopt federal OSHA regulations into its own. This slide shows our regulation, 803 KAR 2:110, that reflects changes that were made to the federal regulation. So how does this apply? So when a COSHO arrives at the work site to conduct an inspection, either on a planned program, an accident, fatality, complaint, whatever the case may be, the officer will ask if employees have a representative that they would like to accompany them during the inspection. These representatives could be a union member if they are unionized. It could be a safety committee member, or it could be a third party. If the representative is a third party outside the employer, the COSHO will determine if the representative is reasonably necessary to ensure an effective and thorough inspection is conducted. This could be the COSHO inquiring about the representative's knowledge in the workplace, processes, if there's equipment involved, just, how will this representative, by them accompanying the compliance officer on the walk around, how will they be a positive influence or contribution to the inspection? The employee representative is permitted to accompany the COSHO throughout the walk around, as well as participate in the opening and closing conferences. The COSHO has the authority to deny the representative, this would be both employee and employers, from accompanying them during the inspection if they try to interfere or disrupt the inspection in any way. In employee interviews that are conducted during the inspection, representatives are not present typically in those unless the employee being interviewed requests their presence. This slide shows you several resources, which if you scan these QR codes, it will take you to them. The first one is the worker Walkaround Rule final rule page. The second one, which I actually utilized in creating this webinar, is OSHA's frequently asked questions. A lot of good, useful information on there. So if you have any further questions, obviously you can reach out to me. My contact info is provided in the bottom right of the slide. But those frequently asked questions are definitely a good resource to possibly find an answer to your question. The last QR code is a link to, again, our Kentucky regulations. And then last, wanted to show you all this. For more free online learning opportunities, please visit our website. Again, a lot of good and useful information on there, kentuckysafe.ky.gov. But with that, thank you for watching this webinar.